A woman is used to a man giving her attention, texts in the morning, calls at night, quick replies whenever she wants them. She gets comfortable with the routine, so comfortable that she begins to assume it will never change. Then one day, the attention stops. The calls don't come, the messages don't arrive. The silence replaces the constant validation. At first, she shrugs it off, telling herself he must be busy. But as time goes on, that silence begins to speak louder than words. She starts to wonder, why isn't he chasing me anymore? Did he lose interest? Or worse, is he giving his attention to someone else? This is where things get interesting. Men often think ignoring a woman means she'll simply move on. But what actually happens inside her head is far more complicated. Ignoring her shakes her sense of control. It challenges her belief that she has you wrapped around her finger. And when that control slips, her thoughts start to spiral. The comfort she once felt from your attention turns into uncertainty, and uncertainty is one of the most powerful forces in attraction. Here's the controversial part. Women don't just value attention, they value the loss of it even more. When you ignore her, she feels a void that she can't easily fill. That void triggers curiosity, insecurity, and often desire. She may act annoyed, she may even pretend she doesn't care, but deep down, she's analyzing every possibility. Your silence forces her to confront feelings she didn't expect to have. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly what runs through a woman's mind when you stop giving her attention. By the end, you'll understand why pulling back doesn't weaken your position. It strengthens it, and often makes her chase harder than ever before. 1. She thinks you found someone better. When you stop giving a woman the attention she's used to, one of the first thoughts that rushes through her mind is the possibility that you've shifted your focus to someone else. This thought eats at her, because women know how valuable consistent attention is. And when that attention disappears, the natural assumption is that it's being redirected. She starts asking herself silent questions. Why isn't he calling? Why hasn't he checked in? Who is he spending his time with now? These questions don't stay on the surface. They dig into her confidence. She begins comparing herself to other women, replaying moments when you may have looked at someone else, or remembering times when another woman seemed interested in you. The silence leaves room for her imagination, and her imagination can be far harsher than reality. What makes this powerful is the shift in perspective. Before, she was comfortable. She knew your attention was guaranteed. But now, the absence of it makes her feel she's competing with someone she can't see. That competition drives her to reassess her position in your life. This is the same tension shown in movies like Gone Girl, where the absence of attention and the suspicion of another person completely flips the dynamic in a relationship. When a woman believes your mind, time, or emotions could be with someone else, it's no longer about indifference. It becomes a personal challenge to regain what she feels she's lost. Men often underestimate how powerful this shift is. By simply pulling back, you don't need to prove you're with someone else. Her own thoughts will create that story. And in many cases, that story pushes her to chase you harder than ever. But here's the key. You're not ignoring her to play games or fake interest elsewhere. You're choosing silence to protect your value. Whether you actually have someone else in your life or not, doesn't matter. What matters is the message it sends. Your attention is not something she can take for granted. This is why ignoring her can create such a strong reaction. It's not the silence itself, it's what the silence represents. In her mind, another woman might now be experiencing the attention she once owned. That thought alone can be enough to flip the entire dynamic and make her chase to reclaim it. 2. She questions her own attractiveness. The silence you create when you stop giving her attention doesn't just confuse her, it cuts into her sense of self. Women pay close attention to how men respond to them, and when your attention disappears, she begins to look inward. Instead of blaming the situation, she starts asking herself if she's still attractive in your eyes. This kind of questioning is uncomfortable for her, because attention often acts as proof. When you were consistent with calls, compliments, or affection, it reinforced the idea that she was desirable. Now, with nothing coming from you, she has to face the possibility that her looks, her charm, or even her presence may not hold the same effect on you anymore. That thought stings. Thought. It's in these quiet moments that she may analyze every detail about herself. She thinks about whether she still excites you, whether she looks the way she used to, or whether someone else has caught your eye. Even if she appears confident to the outside world, your silence plants a seed of doubt that grows in private. And here's where most men overlook the power of pulling back. By doing nothing, you create a space where her own mind does the work for you. She's not just thinking about you, she's thinking about herself in relation to you. That shift is powerful because it means she's the one chasing reassurance. The more she questions her attractiveness, the more effort she's likely to put into proving she still has your attention. She may adjust the way she presents herself, reach out just to test your reaction, or look for subtle signs that you still find her appealing. Each move she makes is a reflection of the doubt your silence created. For men, this is a reminder not to waste energy over-explaining or constantly validating a woman who has started pulling away. The moment you step back, she begins doing the work internally. You don't have to tell her she's attractive or reassure her constantly. The very fact that you're not pouring attention into her forces her to chase that reassurance herself. But here's the balance you need to keep. The goal isn't to tear her down. It's not about making her feel unattractive or unworthy. It's about breaking the habit of her assuming that your validation is guaranteed. When she realizes that your attention isn't automatic, she also realizes she has to earn it. And that realization is what makes her chase. So when she starts questioning her attractiveness, it isn't the end of the connection. It's often the beginning of her fighting to win back the validation she lost. 3. She gets angry because control slipped away. When you ignore a woman after giving her steady attention, one of the strongest reactions she can have is anger. This isn't always about you directly. It's about the loss of control she suddenly feels. For a while, she knew you would always respond, always be available, and always put her needs above yours. That predictability gave her a sense of power. But the moment you stop feeding that pattern, she feels it slipping through her fingers, and anger becomes her defense. This anger may not come out as rage. It can show up in subtle ways: short messages, cold replies, sarcastic comments, or even silence on her part. She may act as though she doesn't care, but what she's really doing is reacting to the uncomfortable reality that she no longer calls the shots. Think about it like this. Imagine someone who is used to walking into a room and having all eyes on them. One day, they walk in and no one looks. That person will feel a mix of confusion and frustration. It's not that people suddenly dislike them, but the control they once had over the room is gone. That loss of influence is what stings. For a woman, your silence feels the same way. Her anger isn't just about the attention, it's about the shift in balance. She used to feel that she could predict you, and now she can't. She used to feel that she had your focus, and now it's uncertain. Anger is her way of trying to cope with the discomfort of that shift. This is why ignoring her creates such powerful tension. When she's angry, it's actually proof that your silence is working. If she truly didn't care, she wouldn't react at all. The fact that she feels frustrated means you've disrupted the comfort zone she built around your attention. Here's what men need to remember. Her anger isn't a signal to panic and start chasing again. That's exactly what she unconsciously wants: to regain control. If you break silence out of guilt or fear, you hand that control right back. Instead, you need to stay steady. Don't feed into the frustration. Don't explain yourself. Don't defend your silence. Hold your ground. By doing so, you let her sit with the reality that she no longer dictates the dynamic. And the longer she sits with that, the more her anger begins to shift into curiosity and eventually into pursuit. So when she shows anger after you've gone quiet, don't see it as failure. See it for what it is, a sign that the balance has shifted in your favor. Her frustration is proof that she feels the difference, and that difference is what makes her start moving toward you again. 4. She starts testing to get your attention back. When a woman feels the shift that comes with your silence, she doesn't just sit back and accept it. She often starts testing you to see if she still has influence over you. These tests aren't always obvious, but they're designed to pull a reaction out of you. If you take the bait, she knows she still has control. If you don't, that's when her curiosity deepens. These tests can take many forms. She might send a short message, not because she misses you deeply, but to see how quickly you'll respond. She may suddenly post something on social media, not for her followers, but to check if you'll react. Sometimes, she'll even try to provoke jealousy by mentioning other people, just to measure how much power she still holds over your emotions. All of these actions are driven by the same goal: to get a response from you. What makes these tests powerful is that they reveal her uncertainty. If she were confident that she had your attention, she wouldn't need to test you at all. The very fact that she goes out of her way to trigger a reaction shows that your silence is affecting her more than she wants to admit. For you, the challenge is learning not to fail these tests. The moment you rush to reply, react emotionally, or let jealousy show, you give her exactly what she was looking for: proof that she still controls the situation. That doesn't mean you need to be rude or cold. It simply means you respond in a calm, measured way, or sometimes not at all. These tests can be frustrating, especially if you're not aware of what's happening. Many men mistake them for signs of genuine care, and they break no contact too early. But if you pay close attention, you'll notice the pattern. She's not always reaching out to reconnect. She's reaching out to confirm she still has power over you. That distinction is important. The longer you resist these tests, the stronger your position becomes. She realizes that her usual methods of control don't work anymore. That realization makes her think about you even more, because she's not used to being ignored or having her strategies fail. Over time, that frustration turns into a real desire to win you back, not just for her ego, but to feel secure with you again. So when you notice her testing your reactions, understand what's happening beneath the surface. It's not random behavior. It's her way of trying to claw back the control she feels slipping away. Stay calm, don't overreact, and let her feel the weight of not being able to control you. That's when the chase begins to shift in your favor. 5. She secretly respects your silence. On the surface, ignoring a woman may frustrate her, confuse her, or even make her act out. But beneath all of that, something unexpected often happens. She develops respect for you. Not the kind of shallow respect that comes from compliments or flattery, but the deeper respect that comes from realizing you're not a man who bends to pressure. Women test men all the time, often without even thinking about it. They want to see if you'll fold when emotions rise, if you'll break your own boundaries, or if you'll stay centered no matter what she does. When you go silent instead of chasing, you pass a test most men fail. You show her that your self-worth isn't tied to her mood or attention. And that's powerful, because true respect comes when she sees you won't trade your standards for her approval. Think about the film The Godfather. There's a famous line: "Never let anyone outside the family know what you're thinking." The power of that principle lies in self-control. The men who stayed silent held influence because no one could read them, and no one could control them. In relationships, it's similar. When you don't react to every pull or push, you become the man she can't fully predict. That unpredictability is where respect begins. She might never admit it to you, but when you stay quiet, she feels it. She recognizes that you're not emotionally desperate. She realizes you're not trying to win her through constant words or endless attention. Instead, you're confident enough to let silence do the talking. Even if she reacts negatively at first, deep down, she acknowledges that this kind of restraint is rare. What's more, your silence communicates independence. It shows her that you're not relying on her for happiness or validation, and that independence sets you apart from the men who crumble the moment a woman pulls back. While they panic, you remain steady, and that steadiness is what makes her view you differently, not just as another guy, but as a man who knows his value. Respect doesn't come from begging, proving, or explaining. It comes from showing her that you can walk away if necessary, and that your world doesn't fall apart without her. When she feels that, even in silence, she knows she's dealing with a man who won't compromise his strength just to keep her close. So, while she may roll her eyes, act irritated, or even claim she doesn't care, don't be fooled. Underneath it all, she feels a level of respect for your silence. And respect is the foundation of attraction. It's what makes her start chasing instead of pulling away. 6. She fears losing her place in your life. When you stop giving her the attention she once relied on, a deep fear begins to surface. The fear of being replaced. This isn't always about another woman, though that thought may cross her mind. It's about losing her position in your world, the unique space she believed only she could fill. Attention makes people feel secure. When you were consistent with your time, affection, or energy, she knew exactly where she stood. She didn't have to question her importance, because your actions reassured her daily. But once that consistency disappears, the certainty she enjoyed turns into doubt. She begins to wonder if she still matters to you the way she once did. This shift unsettles her, because women value emotional position even more than physical presence. She may not say it out loud, but part of her identity was tied to being the one who could grab your focus whenever she wanted. Losing that role feels like losing status. It feels like being pushed down in priority, and no one enjoys that feeling. Her fear of losing her place will often drive her behavior. She might suddenly check in on you, ask indirect questions, or find excuses to create small interactions. What she's really doing is searching for confirmation that she's still relevant. She doesn't want to openly admit the fear, but she tries to soothe it by pulling some sort of reaction out of you. Here's what men need to understand. This fear isn't always negative. In fact, it's a sign that your silence is having an impact. When she fears losing her place, it means she still values the connection. She doesn't want to feel like just another option in your life. The fact that she worries about her position means she's emotionally invested, whether she shows it openly or not. This is where many men make a mistake. They rush in too quickly to reassure her. They break the silence just to calm her fears, thinking it will bring her closer. But what it really does is take away the very pressure that was making her reflect. If you hand her comfort too soon, she no longer has to fight for her position. She relaxes again, and the chase ends. The smarter move is to let her sit with the fear for a while. It's not about being cruel. It's about letting her realize that your attention is valuable and not guaranteed. That realization motivates her to put effort back into you, to show up differently, and to work to keep her place secure. When she fears losing her place, she starts chasing, not because you forced her to, but because she wants to. And that shift is exactly what no contact is designed to create. 7. She wonders if you ever truly needed her. When you stop giving a woman the constant attention she's used to, one thought can quietly creep into her mind. Maybe he never really needed me the way I thought he did. This thought can shake her, because most women feel secure knowing a man depends on their presence, validation, or affection. Once that security fades, she starts questioning her place in your life on a much deeper level. This is where men need to pay attention. If she's wondering whether you ever truly needed her, it's not just about her insecurity. It's also about what you've shown in the past. Many men make the mistake of leaning too heavily on a woman for emotional stability. They rely on her texts to feel confident, her approval to feel worthy, and her presence to feel complete. That kind of dependence always backfires because it creates a dynamic where she feels more like a lifeline than a partner. Here's the constructive criticism. If you've built your identity around her attention, you've set yourself up for disappointment. A man who can't function without a woman is not leading the relationship. He's being led by it. And that's exactly why pulling back is not only good for the dynamic, but also essential for your own growth. When she sees that you're fine without her, that your life continues moving forward, and that your confidence doesn't collapse in her absence, it forces her to look at you differently. Instead of viewing you as dependent, she sees you as independent. That independence creates respect, and respect always comes before attraction. But this is also your chance to reflect. Ask yourself honestly, have you been using women as your main source of self-worth? Have you given away your power by constantly seeking reassurance? If the answer is yes, then it's time to wake up. You don't build real attraction by needing her. You build it by standing strong whether she's there or not. The point of no contact isn't just to make her chase. It's also about teaching you discipline, self-control, and self-respect. When you show her that you don't need her, you're not rejecting love. You're proving that you're capable of standing on your own. And ironically, that's what makes women want to be a part of your life even more. So let her wonder. Let her sit with the question of whether you ever truly needed her. That uncertainty is what flips the script. Instead of you trying to prove your value to her, she now feels the need to prove her value to you. Men who understand this shift Stop living in reaction and start living with purpose. If you've been the man who begged, chased, or clung too tightly, use this as your wake-up call. No woman will fully respect you until you respect yourself first. Take action now, not just to win her back, but to build yourself into a man who never has to rely on anyone else for his sense of worth. When you ignore a woman, you're not just creating distance, you're shifting the entire balance of the relationship. Each reaction she has, from doubt to frustration to curiosity, is proof that your silence is powerful. It forces her to think, to reflect, and most importantly, to feel the absence of what she once took for granted. Here's a statement that might sting, but it's worth sitting with. The more you show a woman you can't live without her, the more she starts to believe she can live without you. That's why learning to step back is not only about making her chase. It's about proving to yourself that you don't need to cling to anyone to feel whole. Now, this doesn't mean you play games or act cold for the sake of it. The point is to build your value by controlling what you give and when you give it. Your attention is a resource, and when you treat it that way, she learns to value it instead of assuming it will always be there. I want to hear from you now. Have you ever gone silent with a woman and noticed how she reacted? Did she get frustrated, chase harder, or question herself? Share your experiences in the comments below. I'll be reading them, and I'll engage with you directly. Your story could be the one that helps another man wake up and see the power he actually has.